tab. Just want to go over first some new information I've put up here. First off, I'll focus on this section. This week and next week, the respective buildings and or program with the options program are going to hold a Q&A. So if you have more specific questions about your school, you can hear from your building principal at these times. So today, that's happening VES at 5:30, the middle school at 4:30, and the options program at 6:30. All of those will be recorded, hopefully, technology willing. And by this time tomorrow, the recording will be placed here. So if you miss this, or you know of other folks that might be interested that can't watch at these times, we will get those sessions up there. And then tomorrow, the two schools that didn't go today, Michelle Marshall at Elmira Elementary and the high school with Mr. Gardner, those will happen at 4:30 and 5:30 respectfully. And we'll do this again one more time next week. These will probably just occur these 2 weeks. Could go longer, but probably just these 2 weeks. However, these 3:30 sessions that I do, they'll continue through September. So that's the first piece of information. A reminder again, at any time, if you have a question, go ahead and type it in the chat. I won't look at them or read them until the very end, and I'll just start scrolling through any questions that we have. So that's the first new section here in this page. Second new section, well, not actually a new section, but things I'll update. The Oregon Health Authority metrics, we kind of go over these every week. This was the first week that in the state of Oregon, we were under 5%, which is one of the requirements. Of all the tests given, less than 5% were positive throughout the entire state. If we go down to Lane County, we can see that we bumped back up over 10. So this again doesn't count as our first week of being good. If we'd have stayed at 8 this week and had that 4.4%, that would have been week 1 of our 3 in a row that we would need to start looking at bringing kids on the campus more often. So while last week we met being under 10 with 8, we didn't make the state metric. This week Lane County was a little bit higher at 13, and we did make the state metric. So there's that update. And the second thing, I will go over a new dashboard. This was actually sent to me. I saw she was on here, Maya Trout. Just a dashboard put out by Willamette ESD. It gives you kind of more detailed information on your county. So I could go here, click Lane, and it'll specifically show me the last 3 weeks, what it is in the state, what we are in Lane County. Kind of has a graph here about what you need to do what, and some information. So just another tool in that area that I've added there under health and wellness. That one we were just at was the Willamette ESD dashboard by county. We are still working on our attendance information and what counts, what doesn't, what do I need to do as a parent. That'll be coming soon. By soon, the day before school starts maybe. But we'll eventually get something there. I wanted to get a short document that just kind of outlined some of the PPE and things that we're doing. The best way to understand all the strategies that the schools are undertaking to help with safety, whether it's entrances and movement around the school and that kind of stuff, is in our blueprints. But I did list out just some basic things so that folks can understand what's happening in school. In all the schools, we have gloves. This is mostly for staff, but students too, I suppose, if they were doing something where they wanted gloves. Masks for staff and students, shields for staff. A student needs to wear a mask, although they could wear a shield. If they came to school without a face covering on a given day and they'd prefer a shield, we could probably give them one, although that isn't something we have enough to give them a new shield every day, but they are in the school. Gowns for specific staff, hand sanitizer. Not only do we have stations around the building, but a gallon pump will be in every classroom, whether they have students or not. Sanitation wipes, these have been delivered out. They come in 1,000 sheet containers. They'll be used by teachers throughout the day in rooms. Each room has a spray bottle with cleaner and brown paper towels that classroom teachers can use with their students at the end of the day, maybe before they go to lunch. Teacher can spray the desk down, kids can clean, throw them away. That might happen a few times throughout the day. Our ventilation, I think I touched on this last week, but some of the things we're doing in some of the buildings, purging overnight, meaning a complete 100% transition of air that's in the room to outside. We've upgraded from using MERV 8 filters to MERV 13 filters. We are running ventilation in restrooms where it's possible to run that 24/7. And then our wellness or waiting rooms, where a kid that is, maybe has a fever, comes down with fever at 9 o'clock in the morning, wherever that space is, we're trying to create through our ventilation systems and some adjustments. Hasn't happened yet, but we hope to in the weeks to come. Negative pressure in that room, so that the air there is circulated directly outside, not back through our ventilation system. We have daytime custodians at both the elementary schools now, something that we've never had before. They will come on at 9:30 in the morning, hour and a half or so after school starts. They'll be focused on moving around, sanitizing high-touch surfaces, playgrounds, other common areas until kids leave, when they'll start their normal cleaning. Then there'll be a halftime, nighttime person as well that will also be supporting the daytime custodians in the 2 elementary schools. The middle school and high school will have continual kind of swing shift nighttime custodians as normal. Obviously, we're training all the kids and staff in social distancing. We have signage up around all the buildings, everything from how to wear a mask to, how to cough, washing your hands, all this kind of stuff. And then a lot of different things on transportation, some of which are in the transportation section of this page. But again, just kind of an overview of some of the things happening in buildings. Again, if you want kind of more specifics that goes into how kids move around the building and that kind of stuff, the blueprint would be the best spot to look. Food service. So there will be some information coming here. I can tell you yesterday, actually, we just got word that the USDA waivers were approved. What that means is we can do meals more like they looked in the spring. It won't be exactly like that because I won't have the bus availability or the staff availability to send all 13 buses out, with a classified staff member on them to help with meals. But without those waivers, the only way we could have served a meal would have been at school on site. Now with this, I can get some locations out in the community, and it could result in, not 100% sure yet, it could result in free meals for every student. And this is through the end of this calendar year, through 2020. We're not necessarily extended through January, but we have these waivers through December. So what I expect is that the first week or 2 of school, until we get out all our transportation figured out, how many kids are coming on in grades 4 through 12 for 2 hours a day, and see how many buses we have available. I expect the first week or 2, we're only going to do meals at the school. There'll be pickup, drive-through. You'll get a lunch and a breakfast if you're not in school that day. However, my hope is by in the perfect world, week 2, probably more likely week 3, we'll have a plan to get meals more distributed out to the community so that more students and folks have access to them that can't come down to the school on a given day. So more information on that, but definitely good news. It will definitely result in increased access to school, breakfast, and lunch to our students and community. Registration, I'll just mention really quick that hopefully everyone is registered that's on here because you guys are informed. But the more you can encourage folks, we still probably have, we're probably under 100, but more than 50 kids district-wide or families district-wide that we just haven't heard from. And repeated messages, we haven't got a return a call from them. So any work you can do to help spread that, the better. Let's see. I guess the other thing I would mention, I'm going to unshare my screen here now, I think. Stop presenting. The other thing I would mention, our options program continues to grow. Right now, it's the biggest. We'll have more students enrolled in our options program than in person in every other school. ballpark, where is that? We're going to be even as many as upper 300 students in that program. We have a secondary director, 6 through 12, Mr. Cooper. And we have many staff, several staff from both the middle school and the high school that are assigned to support him in different periods throughout the day. At the elementary school, we have an elementary director, Miss Jones, who will be an elementary teacher, along with 3 other elementary teachers assigned there. So we're currently at 4. We also have 1 instructional assistant, and we could end up with another teacher being assigned there. We could end up with more instructional aid time getting sent over there. We need to get a little bit more solid numbers, but just wanted to share that we do have, we're getting close to, well, we certainly have more than 10 staff there, just not all 10 staff are full-time, as a lot of the 6th through 12th grade teachers are there for a period or so a day, helping support students in whatever content area they're a teacher in. So then probably the most important piece of information to get out today, I'll go back and share my screen again, I guess. I just put this post up a few minutes ago. It's a technology update regarding our Chromebook Checkout. So the information is right here. You can also go to the 2020 school year in technology, and it has our schedule, Chromebook Checkout schedule, which is going to happen the 9th through the 14th. So next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then the following Monday. Let's click on that schedule. Here it is. So we'll start when this will all take place at the high school. That's probably something I should put on there. Note to self. Let me write that down. We're talking one location here. So whether it's Veneta Elementary, location, whether it's Veneta Elementary, Myra Elementary, middle school, this is all taking place in the back parking lot of the high school. I definitely need to get that on there. Different days and times by last name. You can see Wednesday is high school 11th through 12th graders. Thursday is high school 10th graders plus elementary school 5th graders and middle school 8th. There's the times. From 3 to 7 Thursday is kind of open for anybody that wants to come. Just know, it could get long. We're trying to get you the Chromebook, have you test logging in, check in your password, do all that while social distancing and sanitizing. We'll rotate through the cafeteria, get it tested out, get your Chromebook, make sure everything works, and send you on your way. Another important piece to that, which I've described here in the post, on the main page, go to the district homepage, you'll click here for the Chromebook checkout schedule, and right here, we haven't quite finalized it yet, and we'll be ready tomorrow. I'll put it up for your checkout agreement. So in order to get a Chromebook, you're going to need to sign off that if I throw it in the lake, you're going to be buying a new Chromebook. So, not that probably the main deal would be with a lost Chromebook. We understand accidents can happen. There can be some usage issues, but this will describe kind of what your responsibility is, and you have to have this form signed by your parent and turned in before we're giving you a Chromebook. So, for example, let's say high school junior comes down, they don't have the form signed with their parent. We're not giving them one. We'll give them the form. They can go home and get one, get it signed, and come back. These forms will be available in the front office in the next few days, or by tomorrow, so you can pick one up later this week or pick one up Monday. Well, not Monday, because that's a holiday. Tuesday next week, get it signed, and then you'll be ready to go on Wednesday. If you as a parent come to the checkout, you can just sign it there. Or, like I said, it'll be here tomorrow. You can print it off, already have it filled out and signed. When you come down to get your Chromebook, just bring that with you. So, again, this form will be available tomorrow. Be in offices tomorrow. First day of Chromebook checkout next Wednesday. All of this is in the high school back lot. Before I leave tonight, I will change this schedule and really make that clear where this is all taking place. And we will give it a go, see how that works. It's not going to, depending on the number of folks, If you come there and you do not have a patient smiley face on, you might get grumpy. This is going to take a little bit of time. We're going to try to be as organized as possible, try to have as many people on board and there working, helping give directions to make it go smooth. But I'm sure there will be some glitches, especially as we first get started on Tuesday. Okay, as far as my agenda and stuff I had to share, that was new information. That was it. I will go over. Let me quit sharing my screen. And I will go to my chat box. Speaking of schedules, any idea when we receive class schedules for middle school and high school students? I do not. However, what I would say is if we go to our the Q&A for the middle school occurs tonight, so today in 43 minutes. Ms. Johnson, that would be a great question there. I think the way I instructed building principals to run these is go over some general information at the beginning, 15 minutes or so, and then just open it up for questions. So that would be a great one there in regards to, hey, when will my kid's schedule either get mailed to me or come and pick it up, or is it in home access that I can go look at it? I'm sure they'll be able to give you a time frame around that. Okay. Any other questions from anyone that is on air? Looks like we got 32 folks. No question is too silly, trust me. And if I don't know them, I will get you the answer. Okay, so Christy mentioned that the high school schedules are on home access, and I had heard that. I'm unsure. Michelle, do you know if middle school schedules are up? Yeah, so unsure. They could be on there, but regardless, you will be able to get that access. And Christy said if you have high school students, they are in home access. And actually, I know they are because I already had one parent checking in with me about their daughter's second semester schedule and potential class changes. As you know, Monday was our first day back with all of our staff. It's went really well. They've been in a lot of training this week, a ton of training on new, computer programs, all the things that we're doing. And they'll be doing that through next Friday to get as ready as they possibly can for Tuesday the 15th. I'm sure it's not going to be beautiful, smooth sailing Tuesday the 15th, but I'm also sure we got a lot of folks that are going to work hard so that each day that goes by, we're going to get a little bit better at this. Can we switch our program choice? Yeah, so what I would say is the biggest, within district choices, and that's a really good question. For the first two, let's say I chose the options program. Or, well, we'll just take that example. I chose the option program. We're really going to only let you switch back at the 9 weeks. However, the first 2 weeks, that's also a window. So by the end of that second week, if you're thinking, I want to look into, I'm a 9th grader in options, I want to go to regular hybrid at the high school and be with classroom teachers that way, I'd be starting to communicate with options staff by the end of that second week. If we start getting into week 3 or 4, they've been moving through curriculum. We want them to try to finish that as much as possible. The next time you're going to be able to transfer to a program in district will be at the 9 weeks. Now, it'll be a little bit different, I think, if I am, let's say I'm in person, let's say I'm hybrid 4th grade, or maybe I'm not even in, I'm homeschooled, or I'm outside. If you're in an outside organization and you decide you want to come back to the district, that can happen at any time. Within a day, we can get you enrolled, or a couple of days. The only limitation will be switching amongst in-district programs. That will be kind of this 9-week window and the first 2 weeks of every 9 weeks. So let's say at 9 weeks you switch to a different model, you'd have another 2 weeks to kind of, yeah, I'm going to stick out this for the 9 weeks. So there won't be able to be fluid flow. And I would imagine, especially here at the start, would be flexible. If it was week 3 and you're like, here's the reason this isn't really working, we probably could make that happen, but it wouldn't be instantaneous. And no, for the high school kids, it's the hardest because they're now coming into a class where credit accrual has already started. They've been in a different program with Ingenuity, and they're losing whatever work they've done. Those aren't transferable. For the lower range kids, movement is possible first 2 weeks of each 9-week period and at the 9-week period. So probably talked more than I needed to there, but it is possible, but there are some windows for in-district movement. Again, if I'm out or if I'm in district and I decide I want to go out, I want to transfer to Bethel, that can happen in an instant. You want to go to Triangle Lake, I'll sign off. You can go to Triangle Lake. Or if you're vice versa, if you're in Triangle Lake, Pro, Bethel, you want to come back here, that can happen instantly. It's the in-district stuff that'll have some windows. Okay, I'm not seeing any more questions. Spread the word on the Q&As that are happening with the buildings and programs. I'm seeing a couple more questions here, so I'll try to answer those before I get off. How are they getting a full credit in high school if they're not taking the class both semesters? Example, geometry. My son has it for what semester one's for not semester two. So good question. We talked about this a little bit. So let's say, well, a couple things. Number one, they're covering the amount of material in one semester that they would normally cover in two. They have, instead of 50-minute classes, they're an hour. We could have made them an hour and a half. If we come back on site, let's say November, metrics are good, we're back on site, kids are only enrolled in 4 classes. So the amount of work and content they're covering is basically twice as much as in a regular semester course. If we come back on site in November, their periods are going to be 90 minutes long. They're going to have 4 90-minute long classes versus 7 50-minute classes. So over the course of the year, those are 4 credits instead of 3.5 over the course of a semester, I should say. 8 credits for the year instead of 7. While they're only in class now for an hour of synchronous instruction with their teacher, if I'm in high school geometry, most of that is going to be instruction. It's outside of class time work. It will be more extensive, and they're going to be covering a year's worth of material in one term. Kids only in 4 classes instead of 7. Moving to Elmira from out of state. I want to arrive soon enough to pick up Chromebook for my 2nd grader. Graham, pick it up for us? Or should we just pick it up when we actually arrive? Yeah, I would just wait to pick it up on the 15th. You know, maybe shoot, if you know which school you're registered and enrolled in, shoot that principal an email, and maybe even ask that principal specifically. If let's say they're going to Veneta Elementary, let Miss Latham know, hey, what would she recommend? I send grandma down with a signed form and get the Chromebook and test it out, or just come see the school on the 15th. They would probably have the best answer to that. Oh, and Michelle Marshall mentioned, yeah, if you're K through 2, Chromebooks sign out. That's a good point. Chromebooks are for 4th through 12th graders. The high school kids, we really want them to get a Chromebook. They need to have one. The only way they're not getting one is if they don't sign their release form, their use agreement, essentially. Then we're going down 4th through 12. They're getting Chromebooks. K through 3, we're not there yet. We may get there, but the use of a Chromebook for a 1st grader at home isn't going to be, that's not going to be a part of what we're doing. They're in school every other day. The only difference would be if I was a 2nd grader in the options program, those kids will be getting a Chromebook. And that's probably something I should clarify a little bit better on that schedule. As well. Okay. All right. I think that's all I got. Again, spread the word on the building Q&As. Thanks for participating today, listening, and help us spread and get the word out. Thanks again.